So equations can cause problems for people with numeracy issues. An equation is really a sentence. It's a sentence that says a certain number of things is exactly the same as something else. And a good way to think about equations is to think about a set of scales. Now I've got a set of scales here, and I'm just going to illustrate what I mean. I'm going to take the weights and things off, and the scales are balanced. Let's imagine that we start off with 7 of these little dice, and 7, let's call each one of those a day. There's 1 week. Now let's put 7 dice on the other end, and we know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We notice that 7 days is the same as 1 week. Now the interesting thing about equations is that we can do all sorts of things with them so long as we do the same to both sides. We could say, okay, let's add 1 more day to there. So this can be 8 days. On this side we've got 7 of those joined together, which is a week. Let's say a week plus 1 day, and all of a sudden now the scales are balanced again. So we know that 1 week plus 1 day is the same as 8 days. What about if we take that 1 out, and we take that 1 out there, and we're back to 1 block of 7 of these, which is 1 week, is the same as 7 ones of those, which is 7 days. Let's double that. Let's double that, and let's double this side as well. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's add 7 of that to double that size, and all of a sudden our scales are balanced. Now there's a reason for doing this, and that is that equations can be quite difficult for people to follow. The basic principle, you can do all sorts of things with equations. You can double them, you can halve them, you can multiply them by 10, so long as you do the same to both sides, and sometimes that's important for getting the answer. So we will do some other exercises which illustrate this more in a moment. Okay, so we have 2 lots of 7 days on one side, it's 14 blocks, and on this side we've got 3, 6, 7, 3, 6, 7, so we've got 14 individual blocks. By the rules of our equation or of our scales, if we halve this side by taking off one of those, our scale should still be the same if we take off and there's our scale level again. So the basic principle we're trying to illustrate here is that we can do all sorts of things to our scales to keep them even, so long as we do the same to both sides. And that's exactly the same with equations. So we can double them, we can halve them, we can add something to each side, so long as we add the same amount to each side, and the equation is still relevant, it's still true, and the sentence that the equation represents is still factual.